This week on the Mexico Rising, we'll be talking to Chris Cordova of the Backstreet Grill. We'll have a brief conversation with him about his battles with the state of New Mexico and their draconian public health order, and some other issues too, so stay tuned.
Today, we're going to be joined by Christopher Cordova. He's the manager of the Backstreet Grill in Albuquerque, New Mexico, that continues to defy Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham's public health orders. Chris, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. How are you doing today?
It's another day in paradise. What is the status of things right now? I mean, I know that it was kind of left up in the air where they had come by there. I saw the video of that. Obviously, our producer was down there, and he was able to be there for that as well. But what is the status of things right now?
I guess we're just pending to see a judge, see what they actually want to do about this defiance of the mask mandate, if you will.
Yeah.
And so, my body, my choice, and all the other constitutional, rights and everything still apply. I'm assuming, that's still relative or irrelevant. Well, but we will see, though. So tomorrow is Wednesday. We'll be opening again, as we should. And we'll just see what happens, Well, I'm hoping for an uneventful day tomorrow. I mean, it's entertaining and all for now, but it's interfering with our ability to be able to, hire and get people in and train and, all the regular logistical stuff that we got to do.
Yeah. All right. So I guess the question is, how did this all start? How did the defiance start? What was the point where you're just like, to heck with this, let's get this, let's either start this fight or let's get open because I'm losing my shirt?
It never really started, honestly. I just from day one, March 2020, I just never really gravitated towards the mask as a general kind of thing. And as we started opening little by little, of course, I was defying other mandates like doing indoor dining when we weren't supposed to, and all these other unconstitutional ways of governing, businesses through medical tyranny. But I just never gravitated towards the mask, and I don't think anyone on my staff naturally did either. So it's not that we decided to defy. I've just never really placed any kind of emphasis on it in the first place.
Sure. Now, and you mentioned the Constitution as being the basis of that. I mean, obviously, things have been shut down all over the state for a lot of different people, and there hasn't been, from what I've seen, a lot of pushback. But for you, did everything change? I know that there have been reports that there is a guy who's working for one of the more progressive organizations, and I don't know if he lives in your neighborhood, but he's been going down there and actually recording and making sure to send all of your information on to the public officials. I mean, is that something that started out of the blue, or has it been, from the get-go, even back in it was January when they shut you down?
Yeah.
Before this?
That time it didn't have anything to do, or at least they didn't mention anything about the mask mandate. I believe it's probably been going on since then. I didn't find out about who he was specifically until, just fairly recently. But yeah, I would think it would be a combination of him. He is an individual that lives in the neighborhood, and just a couple of other people randomly that have walked by that just are unhappy with seeing other people dining inside, or just seeing people working without masks, or whatever the deal it is that they don't like. And they'll take it upon themselves to complain.
Yeah. I mean,
right.
What is that?
Yeah.
I mean, when we look at it and we say, okay, well, live and let live, or that used to be somewhat of the idea, but these people really have it in their head that there's this terrible virus going around ready to kill them. And to me, the statistics don't really back that up. I mean, you're not making anybody not wear a mask, are you?
No, but it's ironic when you give people the choice as an employer, you can wear it or not. And you find that people just simply don't.
Yeah.
So most of the people I know that are wearing them at work and other places, whether it's at the mall or other restaurants or just other office spaces, they hate it. They don't want to wear it. They don't believe in it. They're simply just doing it because they're told to do it. And if they don't do it, they have some kind of consequence with their direct supervisor, their company policy, or you name it, whoever governs their system of pay or whatever, will come down on them with some kind of disciplinary action. But given the choice, yeah, they would probably take theirs off too.
Yeah.
So no, I don't really believe anybody's doing this for safety anymore. I mean, it's just personal belief. I've never believed in the mask anyways. I was never really fearful of the virus to begin with. So, for me, it was just another flu season, a different style flu, coronavirus, whatever. But, it's heavy sanitation, proper cleaning, proper cleanliness, proper food preparation, just proper personal hygiene in general has always seemed to work for me and everyone else that I know as far as trying to, get past the regular flu seasons or norovirus season where you get the stomach bug in the wintertime kind of ordeal. So, and honestly, I mean, it's just my true belief. If I was really scared of this virus, because I was watching it just be like an absolute devastation to the immediate population around me, well, I wouldn't need a governor mandate to tell me to stay home or take precautions with a mask or whatever else type of precaution I felt was needed to protect my safety and the safety of my family. I would just do it. So at this point, I really just don't believe in the mandates at all.
Right. You made a statement just shortly that you want to get back to the business of actually running your business, and and then you got to deal with getting employees and stuff like that. How has the employment situation during not only just this virus, but also like during this period of kind of, I guess unwanted negative publicity, how's that affected your ability to like hire, retain people, or just get people to come in to work?
Oh, it's a complete challenge for sure. I mean, it's always been a challenge finding good people, as a general rule. Right now, it's been find any warm body that will come in and actually start learning the job. I have had a few people come in and they're interested in the position, but they're waiting. They won't let me know why they're waiting. Maybe they're waiting for the unemployment to stop. Maybe they're just not ready to work yet. I'm not sure what that's about. And I found, one or two dedicated people that are going to start coming in and wanting to work. And that's where this really kind of starts to play a role with my ability to be able to manage and get the business back in a healthy state from 2020. Going into 2021, now we're in May and they're wanting to shut me down over a mask mandate when really we should be supporting and like celebrating, especially independent businesses that have made it this far in the first place and possibly helping them out, but not coming after them over a mandate. This has gone far and beyond where I find it to be acceptable for civil rights, for individual freedom, individual choice. I mean, you name it, you can stack reasoning behind not wearing the mask many times over. But making punitive damages towards businesses over it, no. I mean, it's a free choice market. People come in to eat at the restaurants because they want to. I do have some guests that see that no one's wearing masks that are working there, even though there may be 50 unmasked patrons there. They'll see 4 unmasked staff members, and that's enough for them to feel unsafe. If that's even a true belief system they carry, they can choose to eat somewhere else, and that's also fine. No one's making them do anything against their will or making them risk their safety in any way. I mean, I'm sure at one point you guys have read disclaimers on menus saying, consuming raw or undercooked meats may put you at a greater risk for foodborne illness, something along those lines.
Right.
I don't believe in those disclaimers on menus. I think it's tacky. I think, to a great degree, you want to order rare or undercooked meat kind of thing. As long as everything's handled properly, food safety, everything, there's very little risk at all with high quality foods that you're going to even have a risk. But again, everything's a risk. So, just driving to work that morning was a risk. Coming out with your family is a risk. I mean, at what point do we continue with controls? And right now it's a mask control, but I'd like to get rid of as much regulation in public safety as needed to let the people make their own choices.
Sure.
Once it gets to the point where, your government is making your health choices for you or creating mandatory mandates that they're very adamant about you following, I really think that crosses the line into lots of different issues with freedom and aspect of kind of my whole my body, my choice, protect my own safety, takes my choice out of it completely. So makes it so that their opinion about the mandates is way stronger than my personal beliefs are about what I want to do for myself. Same goes for my staff. They should have the choice if they're working to wear it or not wear it. And same goes everywhere. I'm getting to the point now where I went to the mall earlier just for, a little quick afternoon with my girlfriend for a little while. And the first things we started getting asked, nobody says, "Hi, how are you today? Nice to see you," greeting customers in the old fashioned way. It's, "Excuse me, do you have a mask?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I don't," So, well, I'm not really sorry about it. I didn't really think that's a greeting that we should be. I don't like to greet I don't greet my guests that way. So I don't think, maybe that's why I'm a little bit thrown off when other people greet me that way.
Sure.
It's kind of like, wait a minute, that was kind of rude.
I can perfectly understand that, having been told to wear a mask. And then when I said no thanks, I had a commie flag shoved in my face and I was chased down the street in Atlanta. So I can totally understand to friendliness.
Peace through violence, seems to be something I've heard in the past from some adamant mask wearers here and there, regardless of the virus or any safety concerns. Yeah, I've heard a lot of different things for sure.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny how people who have historically been anti-fascist are acting quite fascist. But when it comes to choice, when it comes to choice, I know, there would be a lot of people. Obviously, you get people that talk smack and they tell you, "Well, why don't you get out of our state?" That sort of stuff. Especially go through a lot of the Yelp comments where it got really bad before Yelp actually shut the commenting down, I believe.
Yeah.
I know that back in January, you had mentioned something to the effect that you thought you would just leave the state. What changed for you from the time you gave that interview, or was that just a complete mischaracterization of your statement?
I think they had made it appear that I was going to relocate the business. I'm just going to relocate personally.
Yeah.
Try to keep the business intact. It was always a plan of mine to be able to move to Florida with my family anyway. So we're just handling our personal affairs out here, selling the property, that kind of thing, and trying to get out there. It's just for, personal life choices. But yeah, I still want the restaurant to be intact here in the city, and, I want it to be well ran by my management team, who clearly want to stay part of that restaurant and they want to run it. So, I think there was a slight mischaracterization and they might have just kind of framed my words a little bit differently.
Right.
Yeah, we know
which isn't out of the ordinary. Yeah, that's kind of par for the course. Hey, so like being that you're still wanting to maintain some sort of presence here, but personally you're thinking about maybe kind of pulling up stakes and stuff like that. How many good guys are left throughout this process who you made a statement of who survived, right? Mm-hmm. How many good guys are left? How many people are like ready to follow your lead or are going to be able to come back online when all this foolishness finally ends, which I don't think it will?
Yeah, I'm wondering the same, if it's ever going to end. I know that there are business owners that have made it, and I've seen some, unfortunately, that are going to be permanently not with us any longer. So I'm hoping that the businesses that have made it, the independents out there, do start standing up. Now, everybody always says the phrase, it all ends when we say it ends, and it's, words are very truthful. However, you got to actually do it, and that's the hard part. For me, it just kind of snowballed. I just started operating the way I wanted to operate. I didn't really put too much care into the mask. I just operated like normal, but you can't anymore because, like you say, we're getting policed by citizens. We're getting policed by neighbors up the street acting Stasi, looking around, espionage, over mask wearing. It becomes their entire premise for life, So it's maybe it's just a hobby for them. I don't know, but it is starting to become one of those type of nature situations where you are being spied on. They're watching you, feeding your information to authorities, wanting the authorities to exert some kind of disciplinary action against you. it's actually quite insane, really. I mean, when I look at it, because when I take it back of everything I've been dealing with for the last year, and then how it's starting to heat up a lot now with the state police presence, and court orders and mandates and criminal citations and criminal summons, you name it, it's coming our way. It's hard to think about it when you reduce it into simplest form and realize we're speaking about wearing a mask or not.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I'm just like, so what happens when they decide, let's go ahead and get rid of the masks and let's get the vaccine banned going into effect and get some kind of vaccine ID, going on. Then we're going to have a really big problem. And so I'm hoping, like what you said earlier, you don't see that it's going to end anytime soon. I kind of feel the same way you do. And I think we may actually see a negative progression. If people do not start standing up over the mask, and I know the whole, it's just a mask. It's not a big deal. Why don't you just wear the mask? Just comply. It's a lot easier. Sure. But at what degree are we going to just allow that type of ideology to take over our free process and our freedom of will? I know the vaccine passport, a vaccine ban, or any kind of vaccine identification program, if that got implemented, I'm sure that you would start to see some kind of big community pushback. But right now, everybody seems real content with the mask. They like it or they don't like it, but they do it anyway.
It's symbolism, right? It's kind of like having your rosary, but it's with you or something like that. It's almost become religious. We have a term on other programs. We call them, what is it? Was it Covidians? Branch Covidians?
Yeah.
And it actually is proven to be a very frightening reality that you start to look around you and there's literally people who, again, wear their masks as if they're wearing like a cross or in their chest or a rosary. And it becomes very religious in that context. And that frightens me, right? Because it's just like, you should have symbols to, God, not the state or anything or what the state has told you to do. And so, I mean, I guess what other kind of regulatory burdens have been kind of put on you? I know that the turquoise color allows 50 to 75% occupancy of certain establishments or facilities or stuff like that. But what other things regulatory wise has made your life more difficult, other than the fact that like they're always Stasiing you and spying on you about your customers and or like patrons or your employees not wearing masks? What else have they enforced upon you?
Really nothing. I mean, a little bit of the capacity of the mandates. Mostly it was just the indoor dining. I've always done indoor dining. I haven't followed any of these actual like restrictive portions of the mandates, as far as you must seat only 33% during this time and 50% at other times, inside, outside differences. I've just done whatever I could to get as many people in as I could at any time, just like normal. Now, the COVID response itself has shut my business down to a degree that makes it very unhealthy financially. I mean, I can break the rules all I want, but if people are scared to go out and they're just not coming out with the same volume as they once were prior to this entire pandemic, then it doesn't matter if I'm breaking all the mandates. I'm only able to get a little bit of traffic as it is. I mean, business is just definitely down. So I never followed any of the mandates. I never closed indoor dining. I never did any capacity limitations. And they have come in when I've been over capacity, and they came in, of course, when I was doing indoor dining when I wasn't supposed to. That was one of the big things in 2020 for me. Now it's just the mask.
Yeah. God, I wish I would have knew where you were, man. We were looking for speakeasies during this whole time.
And people got mad, when we were doing indoor dining. Of course, Michelle Lujan Grisham closed indoor dining around, the winter months. So patios were great, but and we have a nice patio, but of course it's too cold to have guests comfortably dine on the patio. So logically, you sit inside to eat, right? So we just went with that right away. We're just going to seat regardless, and just disregard what our governor has to say. I mean, she controls budget and find fiscal policy kind of thing. It's not about her making rules or laws. She's not a legislator. Judges don't make laws from the bench. This type of situation is allowing them to have an overreach in power that is completely unacceptable. And many people, which I believe the majority don't believe in it, but there are many people that are following it and that are, just following her word as law. And I'm not sure if it's just miseducation or if they just want to choose to make that something that they want to believe in just because of the virus and the response. I'm not really sure. It's pretty confusing, honestly. Like, especially this late in the game. We're 14 months into flattening the curve. I think we should be good by now, regardless of any prior mandates or any rules I've broken in the past. I think considering the financial damage of the pandemic in general, they could easily choose to overlook our rights to not wear a mask and not make a big deal out of it, for sure.
Yeah. Well, Chris, I know you've certainly taken a stand, and there's a lot of people out there that appreciate it. There's a lot of people that are going to hate you for it.
Yeah.
I know that all too well. So I'm proud of you personally. I'll say it. And I wish that more people would take that stand for their own personal freedom. So we really appreciate you coming on.
Thank you, for sure. And I agree with you wholeheartedly. I'm just, honestly, like you said, there are going to be those haters out there that are upset with the decisions that I'm making, or they think that I'm a bad person, or I want to hurt people, or any one of these nonsensical type of, I guess, ways of stigmaing me in some way. And it's really untrue all the way around. I've been working with hundreds of guests. I'm yet to know anybody in my circle that's gotten really sick from it or from the restaurant or anything like that whatsoever. And that aside, that doesn't even matter. Again, if they don't like what you're doing, that's the whole essence of a free market, is to be able to support the places that you like, and you don't have to support the places that you don't like. Just,
and regardless, freedom isn't always safe. That's
exactly.
Just the reality of it.
I mean, if we wanted to regulate everything for freedom, or for safety's sake, all your freedom would be removed. We wouldn't be driving. We wouldn't allow skydiving or any type of thrill-seeking type of activities that could be dangerous or hazardous or deadly to your health. I mean, there's a ton of stuff. I mean, so a lot of the things in life that are fun are sometimes a little bit dangerous. You know what I mean? Just living is dangerous.
Well, and who wants to live when you can't go eat at Backstreet Grill in town? So we really appreciate it.
I appreciate that.
I really appreciate you even talking about masks, because I did see a quote somewhere before where it's all very boring to you. So do appreciate
that was classic. They're like, do you want to talk about masks and tell everybody your point of view? I'm like, point of view? I was like, I didn't even know this was like, content that anybody would find, remotely entertaining. I was like, it's very boring for me, for sure. It's definitely exciting for them. And they're pulling like a National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation with us at the restaurant, just rolling in, 6 to 8 police cars deep, throwing it down with all the agencies coming out and really smacking it down. It's like a wall of communists behind me, all masked up. And, it's actually very dystopian. It's just interesting times we live in, absolutely full of dramatics and theatrics. It is something that, there isn't a dull moment with this, and it's just going to continue on. There will be people standing up. I will stand with them, and I encourage them to stand up, and I encourage them to speak up about their freedom and exercise their freedom. We're not out there advocating violence and advocating anything negative. We're just advocating just good old-fashioned self-freedoms. I don't have any problems if people want to wear a mask and they feel that that's something that they should do to enhance their safety. If you feel the need to do that, then do it. Absolutely do it. If you don't do it. Don't worry about it. I mean, there's a good argument that oxygen is really good for you, and that suppressing your oxygen isn't good for you. So,
well, but the real problem is that we breathe in the oxygen, but then we breathe out carbon, and as we all know, carbon is very, very bad, and we're trying to get rid of that. So there's only
it's bad. Okay, it's
and everything else. So it's fun. And I appreciate you guys having a show like this in the first place, bringing people like me on, talking about it, getting the word out, just giving me a little bit of time to speak with you guys. I mean, I've been so busy just trying to work and get through life, and my next shift is going to probably be like a SWAT team standoff or who knows what. So, they're gonna rappel in from the helicopters, man, over the masks, and, who knows. So we'll see what happens next, and we got that court date coming up in 6 days. Real interested to see the judge's take on something like this. I mean, any good judge knows what the Constitution is and how valuable and important that is. It's not to be mocked. It's not to be disrespected or anything along those lines, but to really be revered and upheld. And we're going to see what her take on that is. And so,
Besides
loyal
coming
to
down and
you.
supporting the restaurant, the other thing that I did want to get to, is there any other way that people can support you, be it through PayPal, Cash App, or anything like that? I know you're facing these fines. There's going to be
Sure.
legal expenses associated with it. And I would almost guarantee there's a lot of New Mexicans that aren't in Albuquerque that would love to throw you a couple of dollars or something.
Oh, sure. You know, and honestly, what I'm really trying to do is get support for our attorney, Anna Garner. She is, I believe has a link on a website called standupnm.org.
Okay.
And I believe that she is taking, you know, PayPal donations or something along those lines to help with our legal defense fund, but not just ours, helping with anybody who ends up in a situation like I'm in, so that these businesses can start to feel safe standing up and knowing that there are other advocates out there. There are attorneys out there that want to take these cases on, that are looking to help us, you know, stay in business the way we want to stay in business and not have to follow illegal mandates or anything like this. Because a lot of this is just a lot of harassment, a lot of intimidation. This is not good utilization of the police force, of the courts, any funding that goes behind any of those entities or agencies. It's complete waste. They could easily redirect their energies to something a lot more positive than trying to come down on independent businesses who were lucky enough to even make it through that stretch of 2020. So
Well said. And
standupnm.org would be a great place to start. Send people there, let them become familiar with the website, send donations there. They can. I think there's a way they can actually say, you know, we're supporting Backstreet Grill, or as other restaurants get on board, they can name them by name as well and do what they can and stand up. And the best thing people can actually do if they really want to support me is not money, isn't really, you know, getting our legal defense, it's just to stand up themselves.
Yeah,
if
come down to the restaurant,
we
come
can
down,
do it all
you
for
know,
free. If everybody takes the mask off right now and decides they're going to run the businesses the way they want to run them, that's free. Because we can overload these agencies to the point where they have no way of even handling the workload if we all just stand up as an industry and go, you know what, it's been great. It's been nice participating in the COVID experiment, but enough is enough. And let's just go ahead and get back to business as usual. And that's what people need to do. I mean, what are we going to do? Continue this on until 2023, 2029? I mean, when is it going to end?
Well, according to some public health officials, 2022. Mother's Day 2022 is when we're told this probably should end.
Oof.
But I think that is slightly preposterous and crazy. So, hey, man, let you get on back to work. Get on back to doing what you do. We appreciate you having you on. And, yeah, keep us updated on it. And in post-production, man, we're gonna hook you up with all the links and stuff, and go down to Backstreet Grill.
Everybody, and again, people can come down. The greatest support I ever had was that Saturday night. Was a lot of my guests just standing up, getting content. They're bringing up their camera phones because they were just in shock. They were like, "What is this?" You know, I mean, these people didn't expect this. Some didn't know we were going through any of this, and they're like, "This is real." Like, yeah, we've seen it in videos, maybe in New York or California or the United Kingdom or somewhere else, but now they're like, "Wow, it's right here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. It's coming."
Yeah.
So stand up against it or get ready to submit completely to whatever's next. And then, you know, hopefully that little bit of footage that people encountered while they were dining that evening shows that this really isn't a joke. It's like, you know, if you really care about your freedom and your family and your choices moving into the future, now's the time to start really pushing back on these, you know, regulations, mandatory executive order mandates that give governors power to do whatever they want to for, it seems, an unreasonable or extended amount of time. I mean, she's been going on 14 months and it doesn't look like anybody's, you know, giving her a check move and saying, "Hey, enough's enough, man. You got to back off on this." You know, somebody needs to pull her a little bit, her reins a little bit, and say, "Hey, you need to step down from your executive order here and let this play itself out the way it needs to play itself out naturally, by giving the freedom back to the people of New Mexico to make their own choices." And that way, it takes the shaming away. There's, you know, all these mask shamers out there. You know, that's just another group of people that I find very morbidly entertaining. I don't even understand how to explain it really, but it is very entertaining to say the least, like you say. So
yeah.
Well, we're all
right.
We're trying. We're doing what we can.
We're trying. We're doing our best. All right, man. All right. Well, we're gonna wrap here, man. And thank you very much for coming in. Go down to the Backstreet Grill. Support this man and everyone who is going to hopefully follow suit here pretty soon.
Hope so.
because we need more places to eat, and we definitely need to show them that. All right, I think we're done. I
Sure.
think we're done.
I think we're done.
Thanks again, guys.
No,
I
All right,
really
man,
appreciate your time. You guys have a great evening. Thanks for bringing me on.
All right.
you too.
Okay, no problem, man. Well, that's what we need more of. So please support this man. Granted, he's still going to probably pull up stakes, but he wants to maintain his business here. He believes in New Mexico. If we want New Mexico rising, we have to support people like that, because it's time to kind of start pushing back against some of these overzealous executive orders coming from the state level from our queen. With that said and done, that has been another edition of New Mexico Rising.
Stay peaceful. Stay peaceful.
Peacefully protest,
Yes.
mostly. No, sorry. No, completely.
It's important that we fight for and keep our Second Amendment, because as soon as they take our gun away, we're gonna be done forever. And Venezuela is down because we have no gun. All the bad guys, all the prisoners, the only ones that have gun, and they're our security. Right? And if you see the news about Venezuela, you're gonna see it. You're gonna see the truth. And it's pretty much the same thing here with different colors,
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. We keep fighting.
Can I give you a hug? I think you deserve
Oh,
it.
yeah,
Thank you.
hugging and